So if you just saw that 30-second countdown twice, I'm really sorry. I messed up the name on it. So hopefully I didn't mess it up the second time. But anyways, boys, how are we doing today? We're back for another episode this week. Brad, it's great to see you again, my friend.
Thanks
I
for
had
having me
so
on.
much fun being able to talk corners and cards and whatnot with somebody on this stream last time. So thank you. Thank you
Hell
for
yeah.
joining us for another week. And Garrett, how's it going?
Fellas?
You just had an MLS show yesterday, didn't you?
Yes. Feeling good. So, trying to roll that good energy over into some Europa.
Yeah, and I was texting you about MLS so much this weekend that I am definitely going to have to go back and watch the show because I did not get to catch it last night.
So you should. There's some goodness in there.
Yeah,
I like to hear that.
Yeah, I love that, and I know Cooper's been taking some crazy stuff too. Like Cooper's been taking like both teams score first half. He's been on some interesting looks. So
yeah,
I will definitely get on that. But guys, 2 Europa games, 2 Europa Conference games today, and we got plenty of action. And there's specifically 2 games where maybe we have too much action, but we will let the game figure that out for us. So how I had this laid out is basically I had it laid out. We have 2 Europa games first. We all have our plays, and then I'll put it on like a ticker on the bottom. So first game today is Frankfurt against West Ham. Wow, I might have to like bounce around this a little bit because you guys have – Garrett only has 2 plays today, and one of them is for this game. So Garrett, you would go ahead and talk about this game because I know you were saying something about you're very curious to see the way that West Ham comes out and lines up for this game.
Well, I have a pretty good idea of West Ham. It's the one I'm really curious to see is Leicester Roma. Like that's the lineups I want to see before I take anything here. But for West Ham Frankfurt, I mean, it's both teams to score for me. I think it's like a consensus among most of us, like what we like. That's going to be 2 units for me. And it's just Frankfurt, both teams to score is hitting every knockout game so far. West Ham is still down 3 center backs. They're going to do probably that back 3 they did against Chelsea, which they, basically almost kept Chelsea off the score sheet entirely. But I'm not worried about that here just because Frankfurt doesn't play the same way Chelsea does. I think you're going to have – I don't want to go like a super open game. Frankfurt's love their 1-1, like regardless of who they're playing. But I do like them to be able to get on the score sheet here, test West Ham a little bit. Could West Ham win? Sure, I could see that, but I don't see them keeping Frankfurt off the score sheet here. Frankfurt, I think, is hitting like in league play, which is a little different. 67% of their away games, both teams' scores hitting. That number goes up to 73%, I think, for West Ham at home games in Premier League. There's not a huge talent drop off here for me from EPL to Bundesliga between these 2 teams. So no, I like both teams to find the back of the net today.
Yeah, and this sort of it's going to be a little bit hard to argue because like I kind of see it the same way, and I think Frankfurt's a team that could definitely score 2 goals on West Ham, even being on the road today. I could definitely see this game even ending 2-1 either side. I kind of like you. Maybe West Ham wins this game. Maybe they don't. Maybe we catch a draw. I'm not exactly sure what to expect score-wise here, but it is kind of hard to disagree with this both teams to score. I mean, Brad, I know you like this both teams to score too. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm on both teams to score as well here, and Garrett kind of touched on it. So the reason why West Ham have that higher edge in both teams to score at home versus away is they're tactically different. So tactically at home, they push forward more, possess more. On the road, they possess less and try to send forward, which leaves them open for counterattacks, which Frankfurt is more than happy to do. I'm interested to talk about your play because I saw your play on this game, and it was one that I literally had circled, and I just couldn't get to the window. So I want to know, talk me into it, man.
Okay. So I'm not really approaching this as an angle for a lot today, but I think it's just a really good look for West Ham today. Okay, and really, it's kind of how you guys are playing both teams to score. Like a lot of the reasoning that you guys are giving is kind of situational, and I agree with it. I agree with it. For this play, this really isn't necessarily a situational play unless I am right and Frankfurt can go out there and score 2 goals really quick. But I'm really just playing the numbers here. So in Europa League so far, Frankfurt opponents have gotten over 1.5 bookings in 8 out of 10 games, okay? West Ham has also gotten over 1.5 bookings in their last 3 Europa games. And not only that, though, they have done it in all except for 2. And one of those was at Sevilla in a game they won 1-0. And the other one was against Dynamo Zagreb in a game they scored in the very 3rd minute, actually, and lost 1-0. So both of the times it didn't hit, it looks like they lost 1-0. Actually, forgive me, I had the wrong thing pulled up. And it did not hit 3 times. It also missed against Rapid Wien earlier in Europa League, but it has hit in most of their recent ones. And that's why I like it. Another thing that I do think is important for these booking props is making sure that you do check the referee stats, which seems kind of crazy, but I actually really like these ref stats for this game. So I think this is an interesting look. That's how I'm going to play it. I'm really just going based off of Europa League numbers today, and I'm going to play it at a really weird unit value. So I'm going to play this at 1.25 units. Typically like 1.5 units now is like a normal play for me. So because of the juice on this, I knocked it down just a little bit, but not a whole lot. So collectively, this is what we have, guys. I got 1.25 units, West Ham team total on bookings, and both of you guys on both teams to score. And Brad, you're only playing that for 1 unit, right?
Only playing that for 1 unit.
Okay, cool.
I don't want to go nuts on a West Ham game.
Yeah, no, trust me.
But that's because you're going nuts on another game.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah,
I personally have more units deployed on this than I'm comfortable with, but
yeah. So, and I have a lot of units on that game too. We're actually going to bounce around because I don't want to knock out Garrett's last play yet. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to bounce to Conference League now. We're going to go Roma at Leicester City. And I'll go ahead and knock mine out first. So we have 2 plays for this. I have 1. Brad has 1. And I am just straight up going 4 corners here in this game, but I'm taking the first half over 4.5 corners. I've gotten burned more times than not, to be completely honest, taking full game rather than first half, especially in this tournament. Leicester City first half over 4.5 corners has just been it seems like it's been a very good play all year for them, specifically at home, especially in the EPL. It's hit in 5 of their last 6 in the EPL, it looks like. I could be mistaken there, but I do not believe so. It's hit in all 3 at home during Europa Conference League for them. In Roma, this play actually grades out over 60% on the road for them as well. So I think this is a really interesting look. I'm expecting a lot of corners in this game, especially early, because we all know that first goal is going to be very crucial today. And just to give you the numbers on Roma for this play, it's 5-2 in their 7 games so far in Europa Conference League, home and away. So I do like this. It feels a little bit safe to me. I think it's worth a little bit more than that West Ham bookings prop. But definitely with it being a first half play, I'm a little bit scared here because we're definitely going to need at least one of these teams to kind of fly out of the gate in this game.
Yeah, I like that. I don't mind that at all, especially – I'm really, really interested in this match because I don't know, a lot of people who don't follow me, I do a lot of cheeky bets, and this is going to be one depending on the lineups where I already have both teams to score deployed, but I might do both teams to score in under 2.5 goals to try to hit that 1-1 and cash both. Listen, so first let's talk about stats. Yeah, Leicester City's both teams to score has hit 7 of their last 9, last 3 for Roma, but this is all about Mourinho. Mourinho in his press conference said he basically admitted that they're going to go for this game, but if they don't go for this game, basically if they don't come out on top early, they're okay to bring it back to the second leg. What I want to happen is I want a Roma goal first. I get Roma goal first. Leicester City grinds all match to try to get that second. We end this 1-1. It's one of the most likely score lines between the 2 teams, and I think that you could be pretty well covered and getting that without having to play the draw, but getting both teams to score at under 2.5, you get it as a little bit more price value than playing the draw by itself.
I like that. And I will say, just like the fact of it, Garrett knows this, but a lot of times like I kind of get scared off of playing draws just straight up. So I think that's an interesting way to play it. And like in Champions League yesterday, I had both teams to score no under 2.5. Oh, I like the way that your brain is thinking here, where it's like, okay, we have both teams to score. Now let's see if we can hit this 1-1 draw, depending on how the lineups come out. Because I think you're right. I think especially if Roma do score first, you could definitely be looking at a 1-0. I think if Leicester City score first, you could definitely be looking at a 2-1
Yeah,
in this game for sure. So I think it's tricky, but I like where your head is for this game. Absolutely.
Yeah, the under sticks out to me hard. But like Brad, I want to see lineups. I look at knockout matchups and those results a lot harder than group play, just because you're going to get some rotation in group play. There's going to be some major discrepancies in talent. Knockouts, you're getting a little more equal footing. Leicester has gone under in their 2 home matches so far in the knockouts, and both teams to score is not hitting those. Both teams to score is only hitting one of Roma's away knockout matches so far, and the other one went under. So I think it's a conservative game here. I'm not against the 1-1. I'm not on the draw because that's asking for a late goal in a 1-0 heartbreak type situation. But yeah, depending on how they line up, I will probably have some action on this under 2.5.
There's also another look that I'm going to play this live, and I'm praying that the first 15 minutes Leicester City do not get a corner, because it's going to drop their corner prop down to 3.5, which is totally playable for me. I mean, yeah, 3.5, which is total playable for me, and it's dominating in their home matches. It sucks for
totally
it
disagree
sucks for you.
and hope they have 5 corners.
That's what I'm saying. It sucks for you. But the good news is if they have corners early, you're making money and I'm not losing money. I'm not playing at all. So it's a win-win.
Right. I mean, look, for all I care, they can get these 5 corners in the last 5 minutes of the first half, as long as they end with over 4.5. That's all I care. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that game. All right, so let's throw another curveball here. Let's go back to Europa League. Let's talk Rangers at Leipzig. We'll hit that game, and then we'll hit this Marseille Feyenoord game, and we will call it a game. What do you think?
Yeah,
sounds good.
All right, so Marseille, forgive me. Frankfurt at West Ham today. No, already did that one. Rangers at Leipzig. I'm losing my mind. Sorry. I'm only halfway done. I'm only halfway done with my first cup of coffee, and I just spilled part of it all over me. So, anyways, happy Thursday, everybody. For this game, me and Brad, kind of like last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago, we have some of the similar plays, and one of them is a corner bet. And it is going to be for this game. And I'm actually taking 2 plays this game, so I'll go ahead and go over them. I'm taking Rangers team total over 3.5 corners on this game. RB have allowed over 3.5 corners in every single Europa game that they have played thus far. And on the flip side of that, situationally, I think this is a really good bet. But if you want to dig into the numbers, the Rangers, they have missed this 3 times in their last 7 Europa games, but it's hitting a majority of them. I'm going to read them from their most recent to their farthest game. How many corners they had? They had 8, 6, 3, 6, 3, 5. But also that 3 they had was against Dortmund when they had outcornered them 4-5 on the road the leg before. So I do like this. I also think that plus 1.5 is just a little bit too generous to give to the Rangers. I don't expect them to lose by more than 1 goal in this game. I do expect them to probably lose, but I don't think it's by a lot more than 1 goal. So I will take a stab here, and I will play Rangers plus 1.5, almost at even money there. I think we're getting really good value on both of these plays. So I will let somebody else dive into this, and then I have 1 parlay for this game too, and I know you guys do as well.
I'll add to Rangers here, and I'll say this all the time about value plays and finding good angles. When books make lines, they don't interpret soccer the way handicappers interpret soccer. We interpret a lot of situational, a lot of things that you can strike through. So when this line's set for Rangers corners, they think Leipzig are only allowing 2 corners per home match. But then they forget about the teams that Leipzig are actually playing through this homestand, I guess you'd say. You think about teams like Dortmund, you think about teams like Bayern, teams who don't yield a lot of corners because they don't play the boundaries, they don't play out wide, and they're not the same stylistically as the Rangers. Even if Rangers punt this match, stylistically, they're going to get out wide. They're okay with winning corners because they know if they get a set piece, especially on the road, if you get a corner on the road, your chances of scoring are exponentially greater than actually scoring through a buildup. Those are situations that books don't look at. And then you have the numbers on the Rangers side to back up that corners prop. So, I mean, I didn't get as nice of a number as you did, but still plus 100 is totally playable for me.
Yeah, exactly. This was like when I saw this line yesterday at probably like 3 p.m. my time, I immediately locked this in.
Yeah.
And
So this-
I know you locked this in as soon as you saw it too.
Yeah, I was chatting with Garrett last night, and what I did not want to do. So like I like to lay out all of my ideas, my bets before I actually physically bet them. I don't even think me and him actually physically touched on corners, but I put it in our chat just so I wouldn't forget to go back and lock it in.
He said I'm making a note.
Yeah.
Okay,
right
so
in the middle of our conversation. But I do want to get into this one because at first I was just going to hit the under. I was going to eat the juice and take the under 3 here because this is a bad spot for Rangers, in my opinion. They are missing their top 2 scores, which is why I like your corner play, because they are still going to do their thing, Brad, but the quality in strikes is going to be much less today than what it normally would be. So even with RB missing their 2 of their starting center backs, I think Rangers, I don't know if they punt, if they punt per se, because it is a semifinal, but I understand to your point, Brad, that they could here. But I think they might sit 9-10 at the back and just wait it out. Like, this is not a good spot for them. So yep. I think they just try to wait out Leipzig, get out of there. They would love a draw today. I think they would take it. If you told them right at the beginning of the game, you get a draw today, I think they wouldn't even play the match. They'd be like, cool, we'll see you at home. So I think they sit back and the under 3 juice really stuck out to me, but I just decided to make it a parlay with the next game.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we talked about this offline that if they punt here, listen, so those who don't know, they are 6 points behind first place with 24 points available and a head-to-head with first place match. If they punt here, you can think about me betting RB Leipzig. I can do any kind of bet. To win to nil is plus money. If you want to do something like a minus 1.5, you're getting solid value on that. Also, I want to address, get a job in the comments. That last time they did this stream, they lost every game. Last time we did the stream, I went 7-1, actually. So you can run the tape back. That was one of my best Europa days and a lot of plus money bets. Just want to cheers that real quick.
I went even on that last Europa stream too. So I don't know what exactly.
I don't normally address it, but I had to because that was a monster day.
Yeah, I think we had a pretty good day. I think I think collectively we actually won money. So I think that's a pretty good stream. I'll go back. I'm gonna find that YouTube video. I'm going to go back. I'm going to find my card, and I'm going to recap in the comments what the record of that stream was. So, yeah. And then yesterday, the UCL stream, it actually literally went 2-2-1, which kind of sucked because I ended up being like +3 units on soccer yesterday. But, yeah, anyways, PPS, thanks for tuning in, my friend. Maybe we'll get Justin back on here at some point.
Oh, wait, I lied. I literally pulled up the card.
Yeah, he's been busy with baseball, but I am about to put him out of business. I went 4-1 yesterday. No big deal. Sorry, Justin. That means I'm coming for the 1-4 on MLB strikeout props today. Anyways, so somebody said Rangers plus 3.5 corners. I'm going to say one thing about this game. Initially, I had a parlay with West Ham minus half a corner and Rangers Leipzig over 8.5 corners. I took it out. I don't really like the over on corners for this full game. That's what I'm worried about. I don't know how many corners Leipzig is going to get. Now, I said they gave up over 3.5 corners in every game they played so far. But in 3 of those, they gave up 4. The other one, they gave up 5. So it's not like they're giving up a ton of corners, right? So I would be cautious with full game. I do think plus 3.5 is pretty solid if that is what the spread is. I do think that is pretty solid, but I would be careful on full game. And I do have one more play on this game, kind of what I just said, but I did change it a little bit. West Ham minus half a corner. They've won pretty much every corner battle they played in. I do like them to have more corners than Frankfurt today. And then I'm going to play Rangers Leipzig first half over 0.5. And I know you guys have been talking about the under, but I think we see at least one in the first half here. Leipzig averaging 2.3 goals at home right now. In this tournament, I think we see at least one from either side in the first half. So I'll take my swing on that one. I think it's a decent parlay for plus 116 there. I really was just looking for something to parlay that West Ham minus half corner with. It's minus 160. It's a little bit out of my juice range, but I think it's a very solid play. So that's what and this is going to be the first half over that grades out the highest. Today, there's actually 2 other games, Marseille Feyenoord as well as, let's see, Roma versus Leicester. Those actually also grade out the exact same on the first half over if you'd rather sub. But that's how I'm going to play it today.
No, that's fair. I don't mind a 1-0 first half, a 2-0 first half. I still think me and Garrett cash.
Yeah, exactly. I think you could probably get 2 in the first half in this game and definitely not be dead.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's kind of how I see this going. Now let's get into the big one. We got one big game today, guys. Marseille at Feyenoord, and wow, I don't even know where to start. I feel like I should start with this one
Yes,
because, I'm just gonna go ahead and knock mine out real quick. So I will say this: Ice picks Tim, who does plays for me all the time. Tim always has usually he's got 2 or 3 plays every few days. He's taking the last few days off, kind of just focused on this slate. He's taking Marseille draw no bet for 2 units today. I really like that. That's the only reason I didn't add that on my own card because I'm tailing him there. But I'm playing first half over 1.5 bookings, which is kind of a weird play, right? But it is hit in every single game except for one for each of these teams so far in Europa Conference League. And so I'm just playing that statistically. I think at minus 118, you're getting a good price. So I'm going to play it for 1 unit. Don't think at that price it's worth 1.5. If it was at even money, I'd probably play it for 1.5 units, but it's not. So I'm playing for 1 unit. Then I'm also taking first half over 4.5 corners, plus 108. That's kind of my value swing on the day. I do think I think it's a fair price, but I also think this has a very good chance to hit, and I'm sure Brad and Garrett will touch on corners very shortly in this one, but I think this is kind of interesting. They're averaging a combined 4.89 first half corners. Feyenoord averaging 6 corners a match. Marseille averaging 5.2. Those are earned. Marseille averaging exactly 5 in the first half. Feyenoord averaging 4.78, but they've hit the over 4 in 2/3 of their home games. So I think at plus 108, I think it's a little bit underpriced. So that's why I'm going to play it here. That's kind of my thoughts on this game, and wow, we got a lot of action coming up from you guys. So I'm just gonna sit back, sip on my coffee, and let you guys.
I'll go next because Brad has a manifesto for this game.
Yeah.
So here's how I'm playing this game. I'm going to parlay it with that Leipzig under I was talking about. I got the Leipzig under up to 3.5. I love getting the just extra goal there as far as getting over the 3 with the juice. And then, give me Marseille plus 1. What in the world? I get it. It's Europa, but the talent gap here is large. And I don't understand the number here outside of the fact that Feyenoord have just been smoking their competition in the knockout. But I'm not a huge fan of Eastern European footy. There's just a huge gap between the Eastern European and the Western European styles and how they play and the talent they have. So I'm not surprised that Feyenoord was smoking those teams.
I will say one thing. The only advantage that I will give Feyenoord right now is that, in my opinion, it's pretty clear that they have had the tougher draw in this tournament to get to this point, right? I think Slavia Prague is a much better team than anybody that Marseille's had to play in this tournament. Other than that, I think every other marble goes to Marseille. And I agree. Just being in France, it's a way tougher league than the Netherlands.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. And now you've got a Marseille side that is 6 points clear in the second spot. It's not like a dog-eat-dog fight like it's been for most of the season in that table. They actually have a little bit of breathing room with only a few games left. So there's not going to be as much pressure. I think you see a more relaxed Marseille side play today, even away. And so the only way I see this not hitting is if it's just a goal fest, because Feyenoord, that's what they like to do. Marseille on their day can close down anyone. That defense is legit. And so if they pack it in here and wait for their opportunities on set pieces and other situations, I love the plus 1 here. The talent gap is so large that I would be willing to lay money line if I didn't have this nice parlay that I like, because this is a 2-unit play for me on the parlay as well. So I understand it's Europa and things can happen, but I have to back just a much better team here today.
Yeah, and I'm surprised you're even playing this at plus 1. I'm surprised you're not just straight up going for a double chance in this one. I on this parlay, I think this getting it at +1 and still being playable is a shock to me.
That's why, because it was
shocking.
still playable. I'm like, all right, if you're going to give me +1, I'm taking it. Like I can have double chance as a straight bet somewhere, even a little sprinkle on the money line, but all the units are going on the +1 here.
Yeah, no, dude. When we were hammering this out, and you found that +1 line, I literally went to another book, had to deposit into that book. By the time I got my money through, I think it took 3 or 4 hours for that to deposit to hit. By the time the money got, it went from -106 to +105. I was like, beautiful.
Okay,
So,
these lines, you guys should pull these lines up right now because I just pulled them up. Marseille draw no bet right now is all the way up to +160.
Money came in on Feyenoord overnight, and
Yep.
I don't care.
Wow,
so
I don't care either.
I don't mind at all. So I played Marseille draw no bet +128 last night. Then again this morning when I saw it, I put another unit on +178. I said, if you're giving me draw no bet for a team, Garrett touched on this. The talent gap is different. And when I saw the pricing, even at its original price, I had to dig deeper in the home and away splits for Feyenoord. Like I thought that this price just screamed deadly at home, but their home and away splits aren't. Go ahead.
The one recent game that I will say really did stick out to me for Feyenoord, and I could see this game being very similar. And based on your plays, I feel like you kind of agree with this. But they just played Ajax, and they scored 2 goals on them. They gave up 3. So I think in a lot of the public's defense here, or even Vegas's, with the current line that they have, is kind of, to me, it's just like, okay, if this game goes to a slugfest, can Marseille keep up like Slavia Prague was able to?
Well, and to be
that
fair,
is the question. And the answer to me is an obvious yes.
League One is a league I follow quite a lot. Marseille hasn't gotten a ton of respect there this season overall. Yeah. So like
they have a top 5 defense in the entire world.
That's what I'm saying. And they don't, too many of their lines have been playable this season. And so this kind of speaks to that too, is it's just a lack of respect for Marseille as opposed to they just think Feyenoord is going to run away with this one.
Yeah, and no one's touched on the injuries that Feyenoord has. Offensive injuries at that against a stout team. If you want to talk about an overlay situation, you're telling me you're giving me 2.8 to 1 on the money line on an overlay. I'm not even a mathematician, but that's what, like 20% chance to win? That's just disrespectful. If you want to be profitable long-term in betting and you see disrespectful lines, you have to take them because all you need to do is hit every 1 out of 2 bets over a talent gap. Okay, and we didn't touch on corners yet. Oh, you touched on corners, but I like Feyenoord's corners here. Marseille, while still defensively sound, they do yield a lot of corners. What Feyenoord want to do is they want to get into a slugfest. They want to press. They want to push. They want to push the pace. I think the only way Feyenoord win this game and win this game by more than 1 is if they do what they did against Slavia, where they blitzed them early and they pressed them hard, and Slavia couldn't handle that press. Also, one more thing I want to say about this game. I don't like to go to head-to-heads versus head-to-head matchups in any of that situation too often, but the closest team that they played to the defense of talent that Marseille has is Ajax. Ajax blitzed them twice at home this season, and what they did was Ajax controlled the game. It didn't matter that Ajax were on the road. If Marseille can control the game and not get blitzed early, they win this game 2-1, 3-1, and people are going to think I'm crazy for calling out that stat line. Then that cashes us both teams to score. That cashes us draw no bet, cashes us money line, and the +1, assuming that RBL hits the under. It's a situation here where these are get right spots in betting where you find a game that you feel like you have a good read on, you swing for these chances. I calculated my risk in this as well, saying, let's say it's a one goal game or it's a draw. I lose 1 unit. I'm okay with that because I don't think this game ends 1-1.
And Marseille is one of the best possession sides in League One. So, I mean, and they're facing better talent on a regular basis. So, Marseille is going to have the possession in this game, no doubt.
And they're getting healthy. Oh, my God. No one's talked about that either. Like, I just love when we're getting fit available players versus teams who are missing players. You don't want to go overboard because 1 or 2 players are out. But when a team's getting fit and then they don't have to look over their shoulder for that second place spot, it's just a nice spot for us to sit in.
Yeah. No, this is a real good spot for Marseille.
I agree. I do want to hit one thing on your Feyenoord corners. So one thing is they actually average 6.1 in this tournament at home, right? So getting at 4.5 seems like a steal, right? Because it really should be at probably like 5.5 is what the line, in my opinion, should be at. So I think you're getting a fantastic price on that. The only thing that scares me, and one of the reasons why I ended up taking first half over corners for both teams instead, is just because I am afraid that this Marseille defense is so good that if they go up 1-0 in this game, it is going to be their goal to not give Feyenoord any corners.
Yeah.
That is the only reason I would be a little bit scared to eat minus 146 juice on this. That's the only thing. Other than that, I mean, you have literally 100% data support on this play.
Yeah.
So I can't argue it. I like the both teams to score over 2.5. So we'll see. I think this is an interesting game, and kind of like what you guys were saying about Roma, it is going to be very important which team scores the first goal in this matchup today, undoubtedly. So you guys want to run it back? Just run through these games real quick. We're right at 30 minutes, so I think we did this in a really reasonable time. So I'm just going to start at the top. I'm just going to run through all these plays here. This is the first game that we have. I'm putting 1.25 units. West Ham team total over 1.5 bookings, which is just cards, minus 130. Garrett has 2 units, both teams to score, and Brad has 1 unit, both teams to score in this matchup. And then going to this Rangers game, Brad has 1 unit, Rangers team total over 3.5 corners. I have 2 units on that, and then I have 1 unit on Rangers plus 1.5. Then I have 1 unit on a parlay that's a kind of similar to theirs, but also kind of opposite. 1 unit, West Ham minus half corner with Leipzig Rangers first half over 0.5. And then the big one today, Marseille, Feyenoord, Brad. Feyenoord team total over 4.5 corners. Marseille draw no bet. Marseille money line. And both teams score over 2.5. Then Garrett and Brad both going 2 units on. Actually, I think Garrett is only going 2 units on this. I think Brad only has 1 unit on it. So I stand corrected. But Marseille plus 1, Leipzig under 3.5. And then for me on this game, like I said, I am tailing this draw no bet. I actually just put another 100 on the plus 160. But I'm taking first half over 4.5 corners and Marseille Feyenoord first half over 1.5 bookings in this game. And then Leicester, both teams to score for Brad and Garrett as well. I believe. Garrett, are you taking that too? Did I miss that somehow?
Which one?
Never mind. Leicester, Roma, both teams score. You're waiting on lineups. And I have 1.5
I need
units.
lineups there, but I do lean the under.
Yeah. So somebody just commented on YouTube, only 20 people in the chat. That is only because I didn't tweet out the YouTube link. So we got people on Twitter. You just can't see the same comments on here, unfortunately.
I'm actually in the chat 19 times. So
thank you, Garrett. I really appreciate it.
I want to say one thing. I know this is a Europa stream, but I have to talk about this play, and I'm going to be really brief. It's Marcus Alonso over 1.5 shots, and Alonso shot on goal. Marcus Alonso in the wing back position is the number 1 attacking wing back player in the Premier League, averaging 2.3 shots per 90 minutes with over a 57% shot on goal mark. Plus 125 is about 40%.
Is that shots on goal?
Yeah, just 1 shot on goal. That's about a 40% mark. So you're getting about 16 extra percentage points there. I just have to talk about that. I don't know if he's going to play wing back. I'm 99% sure he's playing wing back. But Thomas Tuchel on the road could do literally anything.
So is that Alonso right now? Over half a shot? Half a shot on goal?
Yep.
So is this it? This is it right here?
Yeah, plus 125 is what I've got it at.
Plus 125. All right, I'm going to tail that. I'm going to go back, tail that after this. So
Marseille double chance is minus 115 right now. That is stupid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't make me put more money on this because I really think I'm going to.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
guys,
boys.
thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's run it back. Let's get smoked on this one like last time, and hopefully Brad goes 7-1 again. We'll get smoked. But all right, thanks, guys. Have a good day.